this is pretty damn funny to me. But back in 2016, after the election, I had a whole bunch of, not like a ton, but I had a few family members who were liberal, uh, quote unquote, disown me. And they blocked me on Facebook and, so, Instagram and other social media platforms they had. And they all wrote like this big, long letter about how, they couldn't understand why Sam Whitfield, who is so, kind and so nice and so genuine, could vote for such a hateful, bigot, evil, racist, dividing man. Fill in whatever negative adjective you want, for Trump. Basically, they couldn't understand why I voted for Trump, and they didn't feel like they could call me family members anymore, so they disowned me. And I know I'm not alone in that boat. I know that as far as the audio podcast listeners go, I've received, tweets and messages from you guys, so I know that happens to you. I'm sure that has happened to some of the people who are in, the live stream right now, maybe. I don't know, but it's happened to me. And I'll admit, some of them weren't really like all that surprising because they weren't close. Some of them were a bit shocking and saddening, but at the same time, c'est la vie, I guess. Well, now these same people that disowned me 4 years ago and, haven't, said word one to me since late 2016, early 2017. Now, some of them have like reached out to me and tried to make amends now that the bad orange man is supposedly gone in their eyes. And that's not going to happen. Now, let me tell you guys something. When it comes to my personal Facebook page, I have one for the show, but I also have one, that's like my personal life. That's like my IRL personal one. I don't talk politics on there very much. At all. Unless there's like some major event that other people are talking about. That like I really feel needs to be addressed. I don't talk politics on Facebook. Why? Because in general, it has caused way too much drama because there has always been someone who has gotten hurt feelings by what I say. And it's not really that I care about their hurt feelings. What I care more about is the fact that I say something that's like, that's like quote unquote politically incorrect or something that they don't agree with. And then, as far as family members, they start like, complaining about like how mean I am or about how ignorant I am. They start arguing. Sometimes they'll get like phone calls or, text messages from my, grandparents saying why you gotta argue with so and so about this, that, or the other thing. So, Facebook drama just causes a whole bunch of drama, so I don't need the aggravation in my life. So generally I don't talk politics on Facebook. Um, you know, rarely I rarely post anything on Facebook. Period. Um, unless I actually have like a notable event or something to talk about. But with that being said, I've also never unfriended anyone or blocked anyone or canceled anyone from my life on Facebook or in real life. I've never canceled anyone based on political, differences, period. That seems so weird. And so, you know, that seems, it doesn't seem weird to me now because it's more common, but it seemed like it should be weird, but it's not, right? Like you would think that, family members, especially, like my family isn't super dysfunctional. We're semi, tight. You would think that, people would be able to respect each other's opinions and whatnot. But, that's that. So, I've always said that I'm happy that I will never, I'll never disown anyone based solely on, religious or political disagreements. But I've also said, too, that if you disown me, if you cut me off, that's on you. And I'm not going to beg you to come back into my life. Because if you don't feel like I add anything to your life, if you can't, and this same goes for not just family members, but friends too. If you disown me simply based on disagreeing on something, if you don't think I add value to your life, then why should I beg for you to stay in my life? And this is actually another funny story. So, one of my closest friends, I've been friends with this kid since middle school. Back in 2016, he voted for um, Hillary. But the thing that was is this is my friend. He comes from a blue collar family, and his entire family, for some reason, thought that, they think that the Democrat Party of Kennedy is the same Democrat Party that it is today. And it's not. Right? But in 2016, that was his thinking. So, when Trump won, he called me up and he was super pissed. And keep in mind, we had been friends since middle school. So at that point, it was like 12 years or something. We've been friends for like 15 years now. But, even so, it was a long time, even back in 2016. And he called me up and he was like, I just don't understand how you could vote for Trump. So I told him my reasons, and he did the whole thing of, well, Trump is just such a mean and divisive guy, and then he did the whole thing of, I'm not sure we can be friends anymore, Sam. And I think what he was expecting me to do was to say, oh God, no, please, you're my best friend. We've been through so much together. Please don't, cut me off or something like that. I think he was expecting that, right? But what I said to him was, I said, wow. I said, we've been friends since the 6th grade. We talk every single day. And now you want to cut me off because we have, disagreements about the President of the United States who hasn't even been in office a full month yet? And I said, look, I said, if you cut me off, I won't lie, I'll be sad about it. But no, it's your decision, not mine. And, if you want to end our friendship of 12 years, well, it's been a good run. But, if it's time to move on, it's time to move on. I wish you the best of luck. And, the ball's in your court. Where we go from here. Well, he was not expecting that. So, he called me back, 2 or 3 days later and was like, hey man, you're right. That's kind of stupid. We'll just agree to disagree. And I'm like, okay, well, cool then. That's awesome. So fast forward to 2018. Actually, no. Now that I remember that, now that I'm remembering this, fast forward to just 6 months. Right, my friend, like I said, my friend is a guy who is, he's blue collar, but he's also a white guy. And the other thing too is my friend, he grew up in some pretty rough situations too. He lived in foster care for a bit. He had a juvenile. He went to juvie a few times for minor offenses. He never did anything bad, seriously harmed someone, but he had some struggles, right? So and I'll explain why I bring that up in a sec. So my friend is working out at the airport in Colorado, at DIA, and he's managed to get a position as a security guard. Not TSA, but with airport security. And so he's doing his thing, and one of his co-workers, who is black, I guess, says to him something along the lines of, well, you only got this job because of your white privilege, right? And so my friend starts telling this guy about all the shit he's been through. And he says, you still want to claim I have white privilege? And so from what I understand, now I didn't see this. This is my friend telling me this story. From what I understand, the black guy punches my friend, assaults him, and starts wailing on him. So my friend basically gets into a fight with this other guy in self-defense, and he ends up like knocking the other guy out, but it's in self-defense, and I guess people um saw. So my friend actually surprisingly got out of the whole thing relatively unscathed, and he was able to keep his job, right? But one of the other things that I guess the like my friend was really kind of like shaken up as to why he was, being like profiled as a racist and whatnot. So he started doing all this like research into what like Black Lives Matter was, and all this stuff with like, white privilege and, cultural appropriation and all those buzzwords. And he realized pretty quickly that the left is no longer, that the Democrat Party of JFK, the one that he thought he was part of, is no longer around. And he actually discovered the hard way that the hard left is the hard left. So he went from being, a relatively low information default Democrat to being a conservative. And he actually called me, and told me that story, and was like, dude, I get it. I get what you go through now as a conservative. I get why you do your show. And so then once he came out as a conservative, and he had also started going to church too, a little bit prior to becoming a conservative, he had given his life over to Christ. And I guess people started kind of canceling that of their life for that as well. So between the two, he started losing friends, or people that he thought were friends. So it's interesting because he kind of came, I guess, he came around, and he kind of came full circle in a sense. So, and I'm not trying to say that I'm a great friend, although I think I am, but he realized that, I and a handful of other people were still there for him, regardless of all this. So, why do I bring them up? Why do I tell you that story? Because we're going through something similar right now. The left is so desperate for, Biden to be president, and now they want people to come together after telling, friends and family members, fuck you for the last 4 years. And if they've disowned you, don't let them take you back because they want to. I mean, I would say screw them if they haven't talked to you in like 4 years because of Trump. But if they're actually like genuine about it, well, if they were genuine, they wouldn't have done it in the first place. So what the hell am I talking about? But don't let politics be divisive on your end as much as you can. And, you know, don't let others who cut you off affect you. Right? Find those who are close to you for you, regardless of politics. And, you know, don't be a jerk. Be decent to everyone as much as you can. But there's no need to placate people now because Biden is the president of the United States. That is insane. It literally is insane in my book. All right, let me